Well, it's Friday, and you all know what that means. As you know, we continue with more with the New Japan Cup with day three. We still continue on with more of the first round matches. And then, of course, we move on with TNA with their latest pay per view, Sacrifice. It does feature several title matches and special matches as well. Then we move on with AEW Rampage featuring an open house rules challenge for the TBS title. Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta team up to go on action. We have a three-way match and so on and so on. And then finally we moved up to a who's going to level up on this episode of NXT Level Up. We're going to find out as soon as possible. But first things first, we're going to be reviewing, of course, Stardom's latest event that took place on the 3rd of March within, I think this is the city of Joetsu. Hopefully I pronounced it right, because if not, that's on me. And then, of course, we have some news updates on developments, what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling that we need to be talking about. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome, everybody, to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is the channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the US, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do, of course, more news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can put it on a separate video by itself. We also do real timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something happened in the world of pro wrestling. We also do the United Sayaka Watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like this, what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool stuff as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions are announced and set aside. So let's begin with our very first review, and this is from Stardom back on March 30, on March 3rd in hopefully I pronounce it right, Joetsu. Okay, our first review. This is from Stardom in Joetsu. Hopefully, I pronounced it right. And this took place recently on the 3rd of March, which is possibly Saturday. Now, it opened up with tag team action. We have the members of EXV, consisting of Hanako and Waka Tsukiyama. They take on Queen's Quest, Azumi, and Saya Kamitani. Now, X factors of this type of match, you would think, okay, you have Hanako, who is the biggest individual of the entire thing. Waka, well, we know she has been picking up good momentum, but however, you see a team that has been more cohesive than them. That's pretty good factors. You have, of course, Azumi, who can rely on her speed, Kamitani, who can rely on, her agility and athleticism in the entire match. That's always been good factors. But it was, of course, Azumi with the Azumi Sushi onto Hanako that allowed her to pick up the W for her team. Next up, we have Oedo Tai, consistent of Raka, Momo Watanabe, Starlight Kid, and Natsuko Tora. They take on the Cosmic Angels with the apprentice Sayaka Kurara, Yuna Mizumori, Tam Nakano, and of course, Sayuri Inouye. Now, if you guys noticed, there was a moment where Tam Nakano was in fact trying to get pictures with the fans. Sayuri Inouye kind of stopped her in the ass, like, hey, start telling her, hey, get in the ring. So that sort of thing. Now, many people have to talk about when it comes to having Sakuraba. She has been very impressive, and not to mention, caught the attention of Tam Nakano. Now, you probably ask yourselves, how will this be? I have to say, seeing Yuna and Kurara coexisting very well the last time, they picked up very well on this one as well. So, we did see Kurara attempted a spear onto Natsuko Tora, but Natsuko Tora caught her, didn't budge. But unfortunately, Kurara ended up on the wrong side of the frog splash by Natsuko Tora, picking up the win. Now, as soon as the match was over, Tam Nakano, like last time, she whispered something into um, to Starlight Kid's ear. Now, I don't know what exactly she said. Even Starlight Kid says that I don't even understand what you're talking about. So we'll see. Hopefully, one day that story will ever be told. Now, our next match, we have God's Eye, consistent of Rana Yagami and Shuri taking on Mai Sakurai and Julia. Now, normally with this match, I would have thought that we were going to see Rana Yagami be the one to take the fall. But however, one thing that was interesting is that she actually wasn't afraid to go to toe with Julia, because we know Julia's one of the toughest competitors. She doesn't hold back, and of course, I don't think Rana too. But unfortunately, this match ended with Masakurai tapping out with the ground Zukatsu by Shuri to pick up the win. And of course, um, Yagami continued in the post match, trying to beat the pounding out of Julia, but Julia wouldn't budge. So we'll see what happens between those two in the future or before Julia left. We'll see. Now we have the other members of God's Eye. We have Saki Kashima, Amisuri, and Mirai. They take on the members of Stars, consistent of Saya Ida, Koguma, and Mayu Iwatani. Now, of course, there'll be interesting moments between Kashima and Iwatani, because everybody hasn't forgotten it was Kamitani who used to be a member of Stars until she betrayed Mayu to join Oedo Tai. But this time, I'm sure Saki's afraid. Not to mention, she even played the little bear dance with Koguma. I mean, she's very not obnoxious, but she gets into the whole spirit, but also play around. But the one thing that was funny is that Amisuri and Mirai actually did a combo onto Kashima and put her right on top of Ida. 1, 2, 3. Now, Ida was out, but Kashima was like, "What just happened?" Even Mayu Utani couldn't believe it that Kashima was the one who picked up the win. I mean, I know that there's history between those two, but I thought it was great. So, well, at least one thing is good. At least Kashima got the win. And that's exactly what Mirai and Ami Sodi are trying to say. You got the win. Good job. I thought it was crazy. Now, our next match, we have Crazy Star, Zuzu Suzuki, and Mei Sita. They take on Queen Quest, Miyu Amasaki, and Utami Ayashida. Now, we know that in the past, Crazy Star has been aiming for the tag team titles, and it seemed like they're still aiming for that as well. So, I don't know what's going to happen towards that. But towards the end, we did see um, Zuzu with a tequila shot onto Amasaki to pick up the win. I'm sure that they will announce them the next time to tango for those tag titles. So we'll see where that leads us from here on out. Now, our main event features, of course, stars Yuzuki, Hanan, and Izuki taking on EXV's Zena, Mina Shirakawa, and Maika. Now, of course, these ladies have been a very strong team. They have been developing. We did see the cohesion between both Zena and Maika. But in the end of this match, it was Zena with the Thunderstruck onto Yuzuki. So basically, EXV did pick up a good win. But however, Xena did mention that she will kill everyone in the Cinderella tournament. So there are certain people I do expect that there is the possibility of winning the tournament. So we'll see where that leads us from here on out. I think that's pretty much it. Just to remind you, soon we'll be doing. Hopefully, we get to see day one of the Cinderella tournament. I'm so excited, and not to mention excited for the return of Natsupoi. Uh, it's going to be really fun to watch. So I think that's pretty much it from here on out. So let's move on with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, as you know, we continue with more with New Japan Pro Wrestling in the New Japan Cup. Let's begin with the non-tournament matches. So first one we have Ryusuke Taguchi teaming up with the guys from Chaos, more consistently with Tomohiro Ishii, Yoshihashi, Hiroki Goto. They take on the Bullet Club, consistent of Geto, Chase Owens, Kenta, and David Finlay. Now, nothing too significant about this, but we do know that Chase Owens did beat Tomohiro Ishii in the first round of the tournament. I'm sure Ishii would definitely love to get a payback. But unfortunately, that did not go well because it was Geto who, in fact, ended up on the wrong side of Shoto, allowing for Chaos to pick up the win, thanks to Goto to uh, pinning him, and that's pretty much how it ends. Now, our next match, we have TMDK, Mikey Nichols, and Zack Sabre Jr. They take on Tomoaki Hamna and El Phantasmo. Now, some may say, how come Hikuleo's not involved? Well, reason is Hikuleo is part of the tournament, so we will be seeing him in a bit. So this match, of course, I had a feeling this was definitely going to go with TMDK because normally Hamna, he is a good wrestler, but he's doing the best of his ability and his age. But it was, of course, the Mikey bomb that allowed him to pick up the win on Hamna, and that's pretty much it. Now, our next match, we have Dick Togo and Evil. Now, we were supposed to have Show. That moron didn't even show up, so Jack Perry replaced him, and they take on Shota Umino, Yo, and El Desperado. Now, Yo, of course, still has the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title in his possession. I was thinking in the back of my head, okay, Show's gonna show up, and he's gonna run away with the belt and be happy telling Yo what an idiot. I'm sure Show has that in mind. I think he knows the kind of person Yo would try to do, the kind of stunts. So he did not show up like I would have assumed. Of course, Despy and Shota Umino hasn't forgotten the kind of crap that the House of Torture had put them through. But it was, of course, the direct drive by Yo onto Dick Togo to pick up the win. But you know for a fact that Shota Umino is not done with House of Torture. I'm sure Despy has that same thing too, but we'll see. Now, the other members of the House of Torture, consistent of Kanemaru, Yujiro, and Narita, take on just five guys. Now, of course, you know that just five guys will love nothing more to get their hands on Kanemaru for betraying them last year. And of course, that kind of played out. But however, that did not do any well for them because it was Yujiro who ended up on the wrong side of the skull and by Sonata. So that kind of puts it out there for everyone. Next up, we have the members of the United Empire consisting of Francesco Chiara, TJP, Great-O-Khan, and Jeff Cobb taking on LIJ's Bushi, Hiromu Takahashi, Yota Tsuji, and Tetsuya Naito. However, there is a connection between these two factions in some capacity. It was foretold that Jeff Cobb and Yota Tsuji will square off in the tournament. I think will be later on in the week or so. But that is going to be interesting to watch because we know that Yota Tsuji is aiming for that belt. Um, Jeff Cobb believes that he will surpass that Yota Tsuji is nothing compared like him. We know that Yota Tsuji is a different beast. But unfortunately, it was Jeff Cobb for this particular night that he showed Yota Tsuji he is the one that he cannot be underestimating because he put Bushi in the tour of the islands, and just like that, it was completely over. So I'm sure Yota Tsuji is looking forward in seeing him in the ring. Now our next match we have is the next three matches are the New Japan Cup matches. The first round still we have Boltin Oleg versus Hikuleo. Now we know these two guys tangled earlier in the start of the tournament in their prelude matches. You would think that Oleg has been very impressive the entire time. Yes, I mean, certain young lions, we normally, when we watch New Japan, we want to be impressed of what they can do in the ring. And I think that's a key factor. I mean, people never expected the kind of wrestler Shota Umino was going to be. I think he's fantastic. And I think Bolton Oleg is one of those guys. But unfortunately, it didn't do any well for him because he ended up on the wrong side of Gansen by Hikuleo and Goodnight Bolton. Our next match, we have two fellow British countrymen from two different respected factions. Calvin Newman representing United Empire, Gabe Kidd representing the Bullet Club War Dogs. Now, people often say that Calvin Newman will be the next Will Ospreay, which, is yet to be seen just yet, but I'm not going to deny that there is the possibility. Gabe Kidd, as you know, he's the guy who claims that he is the true future of New Japan because now that the void is open with Okada gone. But you would think that okay, Calvin Newman is no way he could lose. But unfortunately, it was Gabe Kidd with the pile driver that allowed him to pick up the win and advanced. Now, our next match, we have Yuya Uemura taking on Shingo Takagi. Now, Shingo is one of the most strongest powerhouse wrestlers we have seen. The guy is strong as hell. He can put you down no matter what. But Umura refuses to stay down no matter what Shingo will throw at him. But unfortunately, it was the last of the dragon by Shingo to Uemura to pick up the win. So I'm sure we will pay attention to Shingo, Tsuji, and possibly a few others I will consider who will walk out as the winner. So until then, that's pretty much it with New Japan. So let's move on with our next review, and that is TNA. Okay, now we got TNA Sacrifice. Let's begin with the countdown to Sacrifice. These are the kickoff matches involving. The first one is the TNA Digital Media Championship. We have Crazy Steve defends it against the former champion, Joe Hendry. Now, of course, Joe Hendry does his thing, try to humiliate Crazy Steve, but however, AJ Francis showed up and joined the commentary table. Now, watching this match, you would think this is going to be a good one. However, it doesn't take a genius to figure out, why AJ Francis is there. He wants to humiliate him, make him suffer for all the things that Joe Hendry did to him since he first arrived. And that's exactly what he did. He actually slammed Joe Hendry through the ring corner of the pole, and then later tossed him back in the ring, giving Crazy Steve the opportunity the opportunity for the Belladonna's Kiss and Blasto, just like that. But we did see later on during the main card, Joe Hendry confronted AJ Francis from getting involved in his match. However, they were going to get at it, but of course, the director of authority showed up, told them that they will have to deal with this on Thursday. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, our next match, we have the Rascals versus the Speedball Mike Bailey. You can say this is a bit of a revenge match for what happened last time. We know that Speedball Mountain, they have tried to deal with the Rascals, but Steve Macklin got involved. But this time he's not, because as soon as this match is over, we jump into of course, the main card, which features Nick Meneth and Steve Macklin. But however, that wasn't the case. That's a little bit. But you would think that, okay, will the Rascals get another win out of this one? Well, this time it did not, because there was an interesting combination between both Bailey and Trent that allowed them to pick up the win when they pinned Bailey, they pinned once, and it was over. Just like that. Now, our main card, we have Nick Meneth versus Steve Macklin. Now, Steve Macklin, as you know, he felt threatened by the arrival of Nick Meneth, who said this. Now, we know his goal is the TNA World title. Now, we know for a fact that he said, I'm not going to just jump in and get a title opportunity like that. Let me work from the bottom to the top, which is exactly what he did. Even Steve Macklin said the same thing, but he doesn't think he should be stepping in someone's turf. So that's how this whole thing is. He called him a coward that he didn't show up, all of that, but we'll see. But I thought that this match would end with, of course, Macklin would try to take away the IWGP Global Championship, but it did not. It was just a straight up match. But of course, Macklin almost had Menace right his head off. He tried to do about that spear in the corner, but oh my God, he went right through and then landed on a timekeeper's table. Well, his head kind of like it, but we're not sure if he was okay. But luckily, this match ended with the danger zone by Menace to pick up the win. So anyway, let's move on. We do have the TNA World Tag Team titles. I had a feeling this was going to happen. The System, Myers and Edwards, defend their belts. They become challengers against ABC, which is something we kind of expected. We we know that the last time in a 6-man tag match that they pinned Bay, or I think it was Bay, pinned them in that match before this one, and now it's gonna come about. So you would say this is gonna be a very interesting matchup, of course, because the System claims that the System works in their favor. Alicia got involved, tried to distract the referee, but it was a combination of the roster cut and Boston Tea Party did on to Austin to pick up the win. So basically, they obtained the belts, and the System has 2 title belts in their possession. Now, our next match, we have a no disqualification match between PCO and Khan. These guys have been going at it. No regular match is going to stop it, but you would think they're going to use every piece of plunder they can find. We're talking about tables, ladders, chairs, whatever you can find that try to put them down. However, it was all of that with the PCO salt that allowed PCO to pick up the win. So just like that. I think our next match, let me pull up my notes real quick. Okay, we have the TNA World Tag Team titles. Just recently been told that Danny Luna and Jody Threat are now calling themselves a Spitfire. I have to say it's a pretty good name, but however, during the rink entrance, they were viciously attacked by MK Ultra, Masha and Kelly. Now, you would think that Masha and Kelly will definitely retain the belts. I mean, that's something that many of us probably presumed. But however, it was Jody Threat who rolled up Killer Kelly, and Blasto, they become the new tag team, Knockouts tag team titles. I was like, what a surprise. And Masha Slamovich was like a bit disappointed how this match left Kelly in the back and like on the outside of the ring, and this like pissed off or so. But yeah, so we'll see. Now, our next match, we have part 2 between these two guys, Alex Hammerstone and Josh Alexander. You would think that this is going to be another good match. You would think so too, because these two guys are 2 of the strongest wrestlers. But however, this match took a turn when, of course, Hammerstone got crushed the referee in the corner. But that allowed him for the ref not to see what he did. He low blowed um, uh, Alexander Josh, and then later the Nightmare Pendulum, just like that. And he took his headgear as a trophy, defeating him. So I don't know what's gonna happen from here on out, but I'm sure Alexander's not gonna be happy with the idea. Our next match, we have the Grizzled Young Veterans teaming up with Mustafa Ali to take on Time Machine. Now we know Time Machine has been dealing with a lot of situation. I mean, Shelly is still upset over what happened to No Surrender and all that happened. But however, can they, of course, bounce back? Well, they could have bounced back if it wasn't for the damn good hands getting involved. And then there was a misfire between Shelly and Sabin, but it did allow for Ali to apply the 450 splash onto Shelly. 1, 2, 3, it was over. I'm sure Time Machine has to figure out a way to get back at these guys for what they've done. But if I was Time Machine, get rid of the good hands before they get involved. So, yeah. Now, before our next title match, we have Ash by Elegance, who made her presence known. I'm sure she's hoping that somehow this match ends with Jordan Grace losing the match, because last time she was hoping that Giselle Shaw defeats Jordan Grace, so she doesn't have to contend with her. But however, we'll see because Jordan Grace will be in a three-way match defending the Knockouts World Title against Xia Brookside and Tasha Steelz. Now, generally speaking, when it comes to a three-way, Jordan Grace doesn't have to be technically pinned for this match. That's a factor that has been played out in every three-way matches. But there was a moment where, of course, Zaya actually threw Steelz slamming into Ash Elegance with a bottle of champagne, and of course Ash got temper tantrum over the whole thing. I'm sure we're gonna see a feud between those two, between Brookside and Ash by Elegance at some point. But unfortunately, Zaya ended up on the wrong side of the Juggernaut driver, allowing for Jordan Grace to retain the belt. Now, our main event, we do feature, of course, Eric Young versus Moose. Now, of course, Eric Young, we have seen him. He has become the TNA World Champion before in the past. That's no secret. He would definitely try to do whatever it takes to win the match. But of course, those idiots, Myers and Edwards, got involved again. But luckily, Edwards took care of them. The ref, dejected them. But what he did not see, um, Kazarian showed up and choked out Eric Young. And then, boom, just like that, Moose speared Eric Young to retain the belt. I'm sure on Thursday, Eric Young will definitely try to address the situation with Kazarian, but we'll see where that leads us from here on out. I think that's pretty much it with TNA. I believe it's time to move on with AEW Rampage. Okay, AEW Rampage. So let's begin. Now, our opening match features Chris Sabian and the Butcher along with the Blade. They take on Trent Beretta and Orange Cassidy, who they have, of course, Chuck Taylor in tow. However, this is a very interesting match because, as you know, recently Orange Cassidy lost the international title to Roderick Strong, but the obvious question was told by Rene Paquette what was next for him. So he said that he has considered possibly other titles. And of course, there was the tag team titles that he brought up, hoping that the best friends would definitely get a shot at it. But however, Chuck Taylor did make it clear he's not 100% cleared. So most likely he said, why not you two team up and go for that? So you can say this is a bit of a warm up or see if they can still coexist as a team as they have been before. And I think that played it out. But however, Kip Sabian, who has history with Orange Cassidy, does not want nothing to do with him because last time he did try to challenge him for the belt and failed. But in the end, it was a very impressive win by Trent. He actually picked up the Butcher and applied the Strong Zero just like that. I have to say, this could be one of those teams that we definitely got to pay attention when that happens. Now, during an interview, Paquette had to talk to Ruby Soho as the condition of Angel of Cool Hands and see how he's doing. Ruby Soho feels responsible for what happened to him, bringing him into this mess. But she is furious knowing that right now the Sarray got involved in her business and all this and all of that. But we did see Sarray along with Harley Cameron and Zach once again, all this and that between them. So things are going to get a little worse between those two. So we'll see how that rolls up. Now, our next match is an open house rules match for the TBS title. Julia Hart defends her belt, and the person who responded for this match was none other than Robin Renegade. Now, you would think that this match was going to be a simple message for Julia Hart to Willow Nightingale because we know Willow has issued a challenge, said that she will love to face her for this match. So the real question, will that happen? Well, we don't know, but we know that Willow Nightingale will be in action this coming Wednesday or so to take on Riho in that matter. So we'll see where that leads. But nonetheless, Julia Hart picked up the win when she did the Heartless, and just like that, the house always wins. Now, our next match, we have Penta El Cero Miedo versus Action Andretti. You would think this is going to be a very interesting match. I mean, Action Andretti, we know Jericho mentioned that he is the guy who beat him. and he's one of the rising stars. But however, he knows that he's facing against a guy who is far more dangerous and has more of the experience than him, and that is Penta. You would think Penta would hit him hard, try to torture him, however he's going to do. And then he tried the fear factor, and that's it. Good night, Action Andretti. Now, excellent news to all wrestling fans. AEW announced that this collision, Titan will be coming, and he will be in action to take on El Ocho, Chris Jericho. So that's going to be a fun match. Now, our next match, we have Private Party versus Brian Keith and Commander taking on Top Flight. So you would think this is going to be interesting because we know Top Flight and Private Party had been headbutting the entire time over some matches. So that leaves the factor is okay, Commander and Brian Keith are the only two competitors, or like the only team that like, well, we are not involved in your little mess. So I would thought in my mind that okay, they could play out the winning team, but however, Top Flight is one of those teams that we definitely have to pay attention because at the moment, they we don't know who will be participating in the upcoming tag team tournament to crown the new AEW tag team champions. But it was Top Flight who picked up the win thanks to Darius when he pinned Commander, and just like that, it was over. But this leads to Private Party like in disbelief. They can't believe they lost like that, but things are just like that. So I think that's pretty much it with AEW Rampage. I think it's time for NXT Level Up. Okay, so who levels up on this latest episode of NXT Level Up? We'll find out. Um, our first match, we have Scripps versus Dion Lennox. Now, of course, Scripps is not alone. He has OTM by his side, Bronco Lima and Lucian Price. You probably think that that's going to be the factor that would help him. Yes, it probably would. But this time, of course, the one thing that was very interesting that Lennox's arm was kind of like disabled in some way. He was unable to do the things that he's supposed to do during a match because it was kind of like hurting him. He was in pain, but that gave Scripps the advantage he needed to apply the cartwheel stunner on him, and just like that, he picked up the W. Now, Carmen Petrovic was in an interview with Sarah. Her opponent was later on. Next was Izzy Dame, who, of course, as we know, she will have Kiana James by her side. But of course, Carmen Petrovic, who is a master of the martial arts, she'll try to use that as a way to try to deal with Izzy Dame. So that match did happen next. You would think it would have been helpful. So it could have been, but however, it was of course Izzy Dame with the Z Quill that put away, of course, is put away Petrovic because, as you know, Izzy Dame and Keanu James are targeting wrestlers who are the future of NXT and are trying to prevent them from obtaining their goals. But sooner or later, it's going to bite them in the butts. Now, our main event is Dante Chen versus Tavon Heights. Now, it's history that these two guys have dealt with each other before. Dante Chen has many matches won against them. But the real question is, can Tavon Heights try to not upstage him, but more try to pick up a win over him, knowing that he lost to Dante Chen many times. But of course, Tavon Heights was well prepared with Dante Chen's finisher, but that did not help for Dante Chen. But unfortunately, this is his loss towards him. Tavon Heights did a suplex slam and boom, just like that. His first win against Dante Chen, and it was over just like that. So we'll see what happens next week in NXT Level Up, but I'm sure we're going to be paying attention to Tavon Heights. I think that's pretty much it with NXT Level Up. I believe it's time for news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's talk about certain developments that took place. Now, our first one, as you know, Sammy Guevara was suspended due to what happened to Jeff Hardy in their last match. Now, Wrestling Observer has obtained information towards that. They kind of mentioned something. Let me pull that up real quick. Here it is. This is what they said. Regarding Sammy Guevara's AEW suspension, apparently Doc Sampson came out to check on Jeff Hardy after Sammy's knee landed on his face. Because of the times, there was a there was fear of a concussion. Guevara was told to go right after the finisher instead. He continued the match, ended up using the GTH finisher, which ended in a knee to the head. The feeling was that there was concern over a concussion that he should have ended right away and should not have done the GTH. There was another version of the story defended by Guevara stating it was a miscommunication between parties. So this is how they were saying it. We know that Sammy Guevara applied the shooting star press and then the GTH. So basically, I can tell you this. I have friends who are local pro wrestlers here in my hometown, and I asked one of them this question, who I will name nameless because I don't want to give out information to put him under the bus. If you guys remember what happened with Bina Shirakawa when it came to what Kamitani did, she botched her Phoenix Splash not once, not twice, but 3 times. Now, I asked this guy a question. If you know you botched it the first time, what is the best option to do? Not to do it again, to try another move. According to him, he could have, if that was the case, Kamitani could have done a different move instead, which of course would have been the obvious choice. Now, if there was a moment that Sammy Guevara did botch the shooting star press and hit him in the knee, it could have been ended like that, but apparently it wasn't like that. So that led to that. So they're saying that, but the other version is saying there was a miscommunication. Well, you know how that goes. That's going to be lost in the shuffle. But yeah. Now, Yuya Uemura, as you know, he lost in a hair versus hair match against um, Yoda. However, he did stated that he donated his hair to make wigs for chemotherapy patients. I thought that was real nice of him to do that. I mean, of course, uh, that's very sweet of him to do. So, good job, buddy. Now, of course, we got more information about something else. Now, as you know, we saw footage of Sting of his career. Now, many people might have questioned how come we never seen footage of Sting in WCW or WWE. Well, that footage has the rights by WWE. Now, Wrestling Observer talked about that as well. This is what they had to say. Many people wondered, given the past Khan has allowed the talent appear on WWE television to honor John Cena and the Hall of Fame ceremonies, it would have been reciprocated here. The answer is that we did not know because WWE was never asked. So what they're saying is they were never approached with the idea of having a AW in talks with WWE to saying, hey guys, can we borrow some of your footage with Sting? I mean, that would have been thing. But a lot of things were questioned about that, like was there going to be money involved in this? I mean, I'm sure there was going to be, but yeah, so we'll see. Now, Kenny Omega was recently has a Twitch, and he talked about the possibilities of his return, and this is what he had to say. I love to say, hey guys, I'm on track to coming back next week, next month, or half a year. Don't have the confidence this time. Um, so basically, he's telling them that he's not sure just yet. He's trying to tell them that he's okay, but I'm sure coming back is one of his things that he's gonna do. So it's great to hear from him. So we just don't know just yet. Um, but it's great to hear from him. Now, you all know the recent development I talked about. Kevin Kelly. Apparently, he was removed from the AEW roster. Well, now the answer has been told. He was fired. It turns out that he said some inappropriate words or something like that. This is what the PW Torch had to say. According to sources, Kelly's post on social media last weekend cost him his job, where he was accusing Erich of sabotaging his career, ill will, and was expressing his dissatisfaction in usage. So it would make so basically, he was saying some mean comments and negativity towards Ian Riccaboni. I mean, we have seen commentators that can get along, but I never knew anything like this. I mean, I knew Kevin Kelly during the time of the Attitude Era. We haven't yet heard what was his side of the story, but yeah, so that's what reason he was ranting on, of course, on social media about this. So yeah, um, moving on. As you know, Mike Santana, Wrestling Observer, uncovered that he was very unhappy for a long time in AEW. He wanted to have a push as a singles competitor. I mean, remember, for a long time he was been maintaining his identity as a tag team specialist, but he wanted to break away from that. So it seems that was what happened. But they never actually reached the agreement, him and AEW, about going in that round. But I'm sure he'll do great outside of AEW now that he's not involved with them. But we'll find out. So yeah. Now, SEAdLINNNG has announced a brand new trainee has been mentioned, coming out of their dojo or so. Her name is Miara. Let me pull out a little bit of her background. Yeah, her name is Miara. Born on November 7th, 2005. She's from Sasebo, Nagasaki. She's 18 years old. She's about 158 centimeters, weighing by 58 kilograms. Now, the reason they mention her, they just announced that she passed her protest. Not the protest where you go protesting about certain things you don't like or disagree. It's well, originally it's called professional test, but they call it protest. It's pro dash a test. So it required of her to do squats, push-ups, bridges, running the rope, bumping, and sparring. So basically, she passed her test on all of that. She will be making her debut on the 21st in Corkin Hall. On April 21st in Corkin Hall, my bad. But yeah, so it's always fascinating to hear new talent making their, uh, of course, presence. But yes. Now, Mercedes Monet, as you know, she has talked about that she would like to return to WWE one day. I mean, I'm sure yes, because we know that WWE will never give her the kind of payment she wants, or they will put her as the leader, locker room leader. But I'm sure they're gonna regret that the moment they see how well she does things now outside of outside of WWE. I'm sure they're gonna realize, oh man, we messed up. So yes, so it seems that her debut could be coming soon. So we'll see. Now, more information has been coming around about Okada. Now, as you know, he made his debut um, recently um, um, in AEW. What was it? Yes, on Dynamite, which was very surprising. Now, I know that many people have often talked about, like especially the WWE fan base, they probably would have said, yeah. So Scott Edwards says that all contacts confirmed that Okada 36 expect to continue the story rivalry with Omega once Omega's healthy. So basically, they want to renew that whole thing with Omega. So that's something we could expect. But Sports Illustrated didn't mention sources. Here's what they said. Per sources, there were no hesitancy in AEW about debuting Okada as a heel. He is a big run in Japan coming off the big, great Playboy heel. Uh, People will likely cheer for him because he's so likable and possesses a movie star look, but all parties, Khan, Omega, Bucks, Okada, all agreed this run uh, in AEW should start as a villain, which was an idea came around directly from Khan. So it would make sense about that. So I'm not gonna criticize about it. Now, Kevin Von Erich actually gave his honest thoughts about Tony Khan, and I have to say it was very positive. He did this on an interview with A2DK. I don't know what that is, but this is what he had to say. Tony Khan is something else. Every company needs a guy like that. Somebody that loves the business, that can look at the business like it was his first day every morning. That's the guy I have. I have a lot of admiration for him. The AEW rosters are great, old friends, yada. So basically, Kevin Von Erich have been praising Tony Khan, as you know. Him and his sons have appeared in AEW before, so I think they're very grateful for guys like them. Now, as you know, soon Saree will be in action to team up with Hashimoto to take on her BFF Natsupoi and Sayuri Noi. Tokyo Sports had revealed that they asked Saree, is there any potential uh, opportunities that Saree could have a match against Julia? She said that she would love the opportunity, but she would like to do this in a big venue. So hopefully that could happen before she leaves, but we'll see. But also, she said that she still wants to have a match against Mayu Utani. Now, they were supposed to have a match back in 2020, but that never happened. But now, thanks to Natsupoi, who reached out saying, I want her to be, of course, her return match, I think it's a pretty good opportunity for her now to fulfill that. It's kind of strange that she could have done that when she came back, but she never did. But it makes me wonder, the Sareee had a problem with Ogawa? That's the thing I don't know. I mean, it is. We know that Ogawa did say she can come down and check out a show, but it never happened. But we'll see what the real story is at one day. But at the moment, that's pretty much it what we have. So let's just call it a day. Okay, so for our next episode, hope everybody enjoys this one. We are going to feature AEW Collision, but I haven't decided yet because at the moment I'm going to be working on the discussion video about Sayaka Kurara. So those who don't know who she is the rookie wrestler who made her debut late last year in Stardom. As you know, she just recently became an apprentice for Cosmic Angels, so she kind of joined. But I did mention this before. Do you think it was a coincidence that she joined the Cosmic Angels? Well, apparently it runs deeper than I thought. And I think many of you probably are curious. What exactly is the coincidence? Well, I'm going to tell you when I make that video and you guys tell me what you think. But for now, I will say this. I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.